Alright, this is section 2.2, 2.4. We'll talk about 2.2 first. We go through the examples first for each section. Normally, a homework assignment is only one section, but this one covers two sections. We'll go over the 2.2 notes, and we'll go through the individual problems, individual examples for each one first. Alright, when we're solving a linear equation symbolically, we're going to clear out the parentheses, meaning use the distributive property. And then one side at a time, we're going to combine like terms. Then we get to add or subtract all the terms to get all the terms containing the variable on one side and all the other terms on the other side. Okay, then we multiply or divide both sides to isolate the variable. Multiply or divide. And then we check our solution by substituting into the equation. The left side answer should equal the right side answer. And you can use your calculator for that. Okay, so let's look at example 3. We got 10x minus 13 equals 0. So we want the variable on one side, constant on the other. So since they're both on the same side, we want to add 13. Remember, you did the opposite in order to move something. So if you add 13 on the left, you got to add 13 on the right. So now you got 10x equals 13. And then finally you have to break up multiplication by 10, so divide by 10. Both sides, and there's your answer. And now you can check it by plugging that into the original equation, and you multiply it out, and you get 0 equals 0. And that means it's true. Now sometimes you get 5 equals 5, or 2.1 equals 2.1, but that's how you show that that one is a correct answer. On this one, it's got fractions in it, so to clear fractions, we multiply by the lowest common denominator. So in this case, 2. We multiply all three terms by 2. And 2 times a half is just 1, and you don't need to write the 1. 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 6 is 12. Okay, now subtract 6, and you get your answer. Plug that 6 into the original equation and multiply it out, and you get 6 equals 6. So it worked out. Okay, now in this one you got variables on both sides, constants on both sides. I generally like to have the variables on the left, so I'm going to move this 2x by subtracting 2x. Then I'm going to move this 7 by subtracting 7. And then I'm going to divide by 3 because we're multiplying by 3 here. And you get minus 4/3. And again, you can check it either here using math, or you can plug it into your calculator. 5 times negative 4 divide 3 plus 7. And 2 times negative 4 divide 5 plus 3, and you'll get the same answer on both sides. Okay, so here we have a word problem where they're talking about internet users based on approximated by year. So I equals 241x minus this number, and x is the year and I is the number of internet users in millions. So now they say estimate the year there were 2210 million internet users, so they give you the number of internet users, so you plug that in for I. Now it's just a matter of solving it. Add, divide, and you get your answer, and you round it to the nearest whole number since it's a year. Alright, here you multiply by 4. Okay, and you combine like terms. 4x and 1x is 5x. And then just add 12 and divide by 5. So here you're multiplying by 2 with each one. Here you're multiplying by 3 with each one. Okay, and now you've got the 8 and the 1 combined to give you minus 7. And you can move the z's to the left by subtracting 3z. Move the constants to the right by adding 7. Divide by 3, and you get your answer. Example 6, you got fractions, so you multiply by a common denominator. Multiply every term, whether it's a fraction or not, by that common denominator. And then here you add 5, and you get your answer. Here, common denominator is 6, you multiply everything by 6. Notice this one does not have a fraction, but you're still going to multiply it by 6. Multiply everything by 6, and you get this. Subtract 4x, divide by 2, and you get your answer. If you have decimals, you multiply by 10, 100, or 1,000, whatever it takes to get rid of your decimals. These decimals only have one decimal place, so you're going to multiply by 10, every single one. Whether it has a decimal or not, every term gets multiplied by 10. So you get this number here, you add 7, divide by 2, and you get your answer. This one you have to multiply by 100, even though this one only has one decimal place. These others have two, so you got to multiply by 100. When you do, you get this guy here. Subtract 1x, divide by negative 21, and you get your answer. In this one, you're going to distribute the 2. You're going to combine the 2x and the x to give you 3x. And then you're going to subtract 3x from both sides, and you get 0 equals 2. Now, when does 0 equal 2? Never. So this is a false answer, so there's no solution. Okay, on this one, you distribute the negative sign to each one. Okay? And then you combine the 2x and the minus x to just give you 1x. And you can stop right there, but if you don't see it, you can add 1 to both sides and subtract x to both sides, and you get 0 equals 0, which is always true. So that means there's infinitely many solutions to this problem. 5x equals 2 times x minus 4. You distribute the 2, subtract 2x, divide by 3, you get your answer, and that's one solution. So that's the most common answer that we get on the one solution types. Now in 2.4, there's very few examples that we need to go over, just solving a formula for a variable. So we're trying to solve this formula c equals a plus b over 2 for b. So you first have to get rid of divide by 2, so you multiply both sides by 2. When you do, the 2's cancel, and here this doubles. Now you want b all by itself, so subtract a, and there you go. You've got it. These problems are kind of difficult for students because you can't actually check your answer very easily. You'd have to plug this in for b and see that this guy equals c, and it's complicated. Alright, now this one's an unusual one, but once you see how to do it, it's not that bad. So we're going to solve this equation for c, but we got two terms that have a c in them. So it would be best if we brought all the terms that have a c to one side. So you're going to add bc to both sides. And when you do, these two go away and just get ab on the left. Over here, these two do not combine. This is a times c and this is b times c. They're different variables, different terms. Okay, so now here's the trick. You factor out a c out of both of those. Factor c out of ac plus bc, and you get c times a plus b. Now if you've got this right here, right, to get rid of the multiply by a plus b, you divide by a plus b on both sides. And the a plus b's cancel, you just get c on the left. And over here, you do not cancel anything. This is multiplication, this is addition. You cannot cancel a's or b's here. So don't do that. Alright, so now here's what I call similar questions. What you're going to find is that when you go to do the homework assignment, where is it? When you go to do the homework assignment, it's going to have questions like these. Alright? Now these questions are based on questions that come out of the textbook, and if you look down here, this one says 2.2.41. What that means is that's out of section 2.2, question 41. 2.2.43, that means section 2.2, question 43. Okay, so if you look at my notes, I list these problems. And these problems are in the exact same order. You're going to see the problems on your homework assignment. So what you want to do is follow along with your video and watch how I do question 41, and then pause it. And then go back, go on another device, pull up your 2.2 homework assignment, 2.2, 2.4 homework assignment, and answer the first question. Then go back to your video and hit play and watch how I answer question 43. And then pause it, and then go back to your device and answer question number 2. And then do the same thing for question 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way up through. And what you can do is you can walk your way through the homework assignment without getting frustrated or stuck. That's the whole point. So I do these in a very specific order so that you'll be able to do them in the same order on your homework assignment. So this one, there's two different ways to solve it. Let me show you both ways. This is 4 times x minus 1 gives you this. Add 4, and you get this, and then finally divide by 4. And you can check it. Now the other way is you can multiply by 4, and you get this, and you can add 4 underneath instead of adding 4 on the same line. I don't care which way you do it, as long as you are able to get the right answer. So then you divide by 4, and you get 9/4. No matter which way you do it, you get the same answer. Okay, so 43 is just like question 2 on your homework assignment. So you're going to distribute that negative sign. And 1 minus 1 is nothing, so you just get minus 3x. Okay, and then you're going to add x and divide by negative 2. This is just like question 3 on your homework assignments. 2 times x minus 7, 3 times x minus 3, and you get all this. And you can combine your 6 and your minus 14s. You can combine your 10 and your 9. And then you're going to add 3. Then you're going to add 8. And then you're going to divide by 5. Alright, on this one you're distributing a minus 2. Here you're distributing a minus. And you get all these numbers here. You combine the t's, you combine the constants. Subtract 9. Divide by negative 3. And you get your answer. This one has some numbers that have 1 or 2 decimal places, so to get rid of all the decimals you multiply by 100. So 9.5 times 100 is 950. 0.05 times 100 is just 5. 10.5 times 100 is 1050. 100 times 1.05 is 105. So now you subtract 1050x, you add 5, you divide by negative 2000. Now how did I get this number here? Well, if you hit math, type this number into your calculator, hit enter, and then hit math 1, enter, and it'll change it from a decimal to a fraction. And it'll give you the simplified fraction. So here you multiply everything by 8, since 8 is your common denominator, and you get your 8's cancel, you just get 3. 8 over 4 is just 2. 8 times 1/8 is just 1. And the rest of this is all the same. Nothing new there. This one you're multiplying by 12 to get rid of your decimals, and each one cancels in its own way. Okay, and then you add 12x to both sides, subtract 3 from both sides, and then finally divide by 16. I moved it over because when I scan it into my copier, it chops off the bottom of the page. Okay, now these are asking you how many solutions you will get. So you multiply by 5, and combine your 5x and minus x give you 4x. Then you subtract 4x and you get 0 equals 15. Now there is a solution when 0 equals 15, which never happens, so it's false, no solution. And number 70, you distribute that negative sign. Okay, and you combine like terms and you get this guy here. And you can stop there and realize that x minus 5 is always going to equal x minus 5, but you don't have to. You can keep going. Subtract x, add 5, and now you get 0 equals 0, which is at that point you definitely want to stop. And you realize, when does 0 equal 0? Well, always. So that means infinitely many solutions. And this one is your internet question. Okay, and you add 482440 to both sides, divide by 241, and you get this number here, which rounds closer to 2009 versus 2010. So notice they give you I equals 1730, so that's what you plug in there. If they gave you the year, you'd plug in this number here. Okay, 75, they give you this equation, they tell you n equals 1.5, so you plug that in. And you don't have to get rid of your decimals. Watch as I solve it without getting rid of decimals. I add 58.62, I divide by 0.03, and then I get 2004. You could have multiplied by 100, but you don't have to. Okay, and this one, it's a word problem, and it's distance equals rate times time. Okay, and so let's see what the word problem says. Word problem says the number of n state and federal inmates in millions per year X. Alright? So they tell you in what year were there 1.5 million inmates. So you plug in 1.5 for n and you solve it. And you get 2004. 71 says a bicyclist is 4 miles from home. So at time 0 you have 4 miles. He's biking away from home at 8 miles an hour. So after 1 hour he's 8 more miles from home. That'd be 12. 1 more hour later he's 8 more miles from home, which is another adding 8 to 20, and then you keep adding 8 each time, and you get 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so what is the equation? This 0 equals 4, that wherever x equals 0, that number there is your y-intercept. So that's your 4. Now what is your slope? Well, it's the rate of change from here to here to here. So if you keep adding 8, adding 8, adding 8, and you keep adding 1, adding 1, adding 1, so it's just 8 over 1, which is 8. And now they ask you what happens at hour 3. You plug in 3 in there and you get 28 miles from home. And then finally they say at what time, how many hours will it take to be 22 miles from home. So you plug in 22 for D, subtract 4, divide by 8, and you get 2.25 hours. 85, they give you a formula for a lightning strike. The distance a lightning strike is from you is the number of seconds divided by 5. So every 5 seconds of time is 1 mile from your home. So then they give you 12 seconds, and you divide by 5, and it's 2.4 miles away. Then they tell you it's 2.5 miles from home. How many seconds is that? So if you get 2.5 equals x over 5, multiply both sides by 5, and you get 12.5 seconds.